Mm, 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 mm. Y'all, what is up? Welcome back to Simplify Streaming. I'm your host this evening. With me uh, is our friend, the Tyrant Velhari, who you can find here on Twitch. We have a special guest tonight. We have Casual Gaming Dad with us in the booth.
Hello, hello.
Sitting all nice and snazzy on the chair.
I love that.
Well, so this has been a long time coming. We have known Casual Gaming Dad here for 2018-ish.
Yeah, about that. I think, yeah, that's when
Ish.
I started. So yeah, it's whatever time it was that you came into the guild at whatever point that was.
Yeah,
Since then, at
yeah,
least.
because I think I met you and Mania about the same time, right?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, so
I
about
think.
2018 at some point.
Yeah.
So that was that's an old school reference to the freaking gaming guild, which ironically is your first clip on your Twitch page.
Is it? Oh
Yeah,
man.
with the most views. Top
Really?
ball, yeah.
Did not realize that.
So Casual Game Dad is a started out on Facebook. He has a Twitch, YouTube. He does P3 podcast with other members of the community, which is I'm trying to call it fan base. A good word for that fan base podcast.
So with the P3, like
Yeah, you're
pretty much.
Pittsburgh. Yeah,
Yeah. We start. Yeah. So we so the guys that I do that with, Beef, Poot, and Ransom. I'd known Ransom. We knew each other like as childhood friends, and then life pulled us apart. Whatever. Beef and Poot grew up, and they knew each other from high school, and then the three of them kind of all commingled in college, and then eventually, just because I was still friends with Ransom, just because of our affinity and love of pro wrestling. Um, when they started to do their podcast, I kind of was like, "Hey, I like what you guys got. You know, what would you think about me like coming on as a sponsor for you?" I was like, because there's kind of that niche audience between gamers and pro wrestling fans, vice versa. And
yeah,
I was like, I was like, you shout me out, I'll shout you guys out. I was like, maybe every once in a while I'll come on and do a spot or something like that. Whatever, just shoot the shit. And so it was about 6 episodes in, they brought me on and they asked me if I wanted to come back the next week, and then the next week, and then by the fourth time, they're just like, Ransom's like, "You're in the band, you're here." I'm like, "Okay." So
Tag, you're it. Like,
I was like, "All right, let's do it." So,
right.
and haven't looked back since. So yeah, and that's actually coming up. I'm not sure what the official date with that is, but it's it pretty much started right around WrestleMania in 2019. So we're coming up on a 5-year anniversary for the
Oh wow.
P3. Yeah, I know. Time's a son of a bitch, isn't it?
Holy shit. I vaguely remember when you started telling us about it.
Oh boy. It's
Man, time flies.
I know, right?
So did that started after you started the live streaming, right?
Yeah. So the P3 started pretty much a year after I was into the streaming because I like you mentioned I started January of 2018, and then it was pretty much almost a year to like pretty much almost a year to the day after I started. That's whenever Gould Gaming reached out to me.
Mm-hmm.
To shout out to Taylor there, and so he reached out to me and started getting the merch and stuff, and then it worked out perfectly with the P3 starting because one of my shirts that I had for myself was the CGD like NWO style. So I was like, this is perfect. And then we have a Pittsburgh Power Driver podcast shirt up in my section of the shop, for the podcast or whatever.
Right, right.
I mean, we haven't pursued anything like super crazy with the podcast itself, like as far as like more merch or anything like that. But I think that is mostly because it's like a little bit more of just like a passion project.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but obviously, like it just like anything else, like hey, if the opportunity presents itself, I'm all about it. So
Right.
you know,
Ain't gonna force it, but not gonna say no if it happens.
exactly.
So back what got let's get down to the fun basics of casual gaming dad. What got you into streaming?
Yeah. So funny enough, I got into streaming because um I had always been a gamer since I was little and stuff. And then like as I grew up, went to the military, didn't have as much time to do gaming and stuff like that as I wanted to. Got out of the
Mm,
military, kind of I would do some stuff here and there for myself. Got back into gaming a little bit more. Then kids came along, so then obviously like again that kind of shifted priorities, and
uh,
rightfully so.
as they
Um
do.
as they do. And and then I wanted to like it was getting to the point where I'm like, okay, I need something for myself too. Like I need some sort of like me time sort of thing. I was like, and I have all these games sitting around. I'm just looking at them like, man, when am I going to find time to play them? So I was like, well, you know what? Was obviously aware like streaming was a thing on like Twitch and some on YouTube,
Yeah.
but I hadn't seen people doing it really on Facebook. And then at that time, I started seeing people on Facebook like One Coin Only, um, other different people and stuff like that. And
Right.
I'm like, okay. And I went into a couple people's streams and I picked their brains, and I asked people like, hey, is this hard to get into? Like, I was like, because at the time, I didn't have any sort of like big computers, like custom build or anything like that by any means. And, um, and I remember one of the streamers going, I'm doing this off of my iPhone sitting on a tripod, man. And I'm like, well,
Yes.
I can do that. And so that's how I started. And I started it as just like, essentially a way for me to get back into gaming. And I was like, if I schedule this out, if I make time, if I make this a thing for myself, and I don't want to say force myself to do it, but just prioritize it as like this is something for me. I was
Right.
like, I was like, then I was like, I can kind of share my love of gaming too with everybody else, and possibly meet some new people, make a nice little community. I was like, if it's something that becomes lucrative in the long run, all well and fine. If it ends up just panning out to be a passion project, that's fine too, because at least I'm doing something that I
And
enjoy,
right.
and so that's kind of the mindset I've always kept with it. But as the years have gone on, I've definitely tried to get a little bit more like business mindset with it too.
Mm-hmm.
Um, because again, I mean, it's not like my primary thing. It's not the thing that pays the bills, which I know for some people that is, and that's amazing that
It
if they can do
can.
that. Yeah, because especially like as well as I do, like it's a very saturated market.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, especially
Um,
since the pandemic and everyone got home from work,
oh
everyone
yeah.
started it.
Well, yeah, and I mean I know people like like say like Blast, like people
Took
that
off for
lost
him.
their like they lost their jobs in the pandemic and they didn't have a choice. Like it's like I got to figure out something. I gotta make this my main thing, and they did, and it's been going well. So I'm like, that's awesome. It sucks that it because of the circumstances that led to it, but like that's amazing that they can do that. But this is always I still always refer to this as my semi-professional part-time hobby.
Right.
So
That's
you
a
know,
good way to put it.
it is. Yeah.
So outside of beginning, did you say you would had any like role models that you kind of looked up to that you're like, hey, if I like kind of what he's doing and try to model yourself after when you first started before you
Yeah, I
kind of
mean,
found your own niche?
yeah, I mean, like for sure. Like, so the three people that I can think of off the top of my head that I remember when I first started out, like the first three people that I watched and like went into their streams and picked their brains was like I'm trying to remember his page. I want to say it was player one, I believe, from like Super Retro Game Time, I think.
Oh, him, yeah.
Yeah. So he was the one that told me like, "Hey, dude, I'm doing this off of my iPhone or whatever." And I was like, "Okay." So he was the one that kind of like led me to think like, "All right, well, I don't have to have like this big fancy rig. That's fine, cool." Spinback was the
Yeah.
other one. Like I enjoyed the content that he was putting out back in the day. And then like one coin only. Like I said, Ricky's always been like he's always been a very generous like y- like very interactive with it, like paying attention to
Right.
the audience and stuff like that. And even whenever I was like first starting out and I'm like, it's like I'm Joe Schmo nobody or whatever, like in comparison, you know what I'm saying? Like
Right.
look like I'm coming into his stream or whatever um and he's always been very kind about, shouting people out and stuff like that. And yeah, and just kind of like yeah, just very welcoming.
Right.
So I would say, I'd say like those are the three that I remember like in the very beginning. And then obviously like as I've gone through the years and stuff like that um and I've seen other people doing different things, I'm like, "Oh wow, that's really neat." Like, okay, like you know, how can I do something like that for myself? Like I see, certain things going on or whatever. And I don't remember exactly who it was that I saw it that would roll like the little like shout out reels and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I was gonna say I know you remember like people doing this, and so again, I this was whenever I was still phone streaming, and what I did was I'm phone streaming. I have my phone on a tripod. I'm pointing at the TV, but my TV has like the USB port in it or whatever.
Right.
And what I would do is I would take other streamers logos and stuff and put them on like kind of like a little like picture slideshow,
Yeah.
and I would plug it into the TV, and before I'd start my stream, like that's how I would do my like slideshow shout out.
Hold your thought,
And
man. Man, you said, how dare no can.
yeah, sorry. I don't think you want to. I don't think you want to see like the layer, the underbelly of my basement here and stuff like that. So
I can
it's
tell
all
you
right.
her answer without even her typing anything right now. I don't care. I want to see dad.
Well, you can tune into my streams.
Right.
No, but hi, Mania. um, but what's interesting about that is the fact that I was phone streaming and other people ask like, "Oh, how are you doing that when you're phone streaming?" So in a way, like I saw something that somebody else was doing. Is like, how can I make this work for myself, given what I'm using and what I'm doing with my setup? And then I was able, I think, in terms to like, I hope, maybe somebody else that was phone streaming be able to do the same thing.
Hmm.
So I thought it was kind of neat, a very cyclical sort of little thing there.
Yeah, we tell people that here all the time, especially with like every guest I had. It's like we all had to start from somewhere. Some of us,
Yeah.
when we're OGs to the game, we were doing it on phones before we got lucrative setups, desktop, and
Yep.
everything can be done on a budget. Even like casual gaming dad here, you heard him mention he has kids. Guess what? It's called budget and proper planning. You
Yep.
too out there can do this.
I will even suggest this for, and I still do, for anybody that wants to get into it. Do not go out and spend the boatload on like a big elaborate setup and stuff like that to start, because you really want to find if this is something that you want to keep doing and for like what your level of involvement is. Like I can like, again, business mindset, I itemize my stuff in like shit for taxes. So again, I'm like, when I look back and I see how much money is actually spent on internet and monthly subscriptions and different games that I decided to buy, I'm like, damn, that adds up.
Mm-hmm.
so so I will say, if it's something that's, I've encouraged people, and especially like when I've talked to people like our age that have like either nieces, nephews, or kids of their own that are like older teens or like early 20s or something like that that are thinking about getting into it. I'm like, listen, if they have questions, like reach out to me. I was like, but I will say, like, you don't have to blow the mother load on a setup.
Nope.
You can do stuff off of a laptop as long as like you got decent RAM. It all depends on what you want to stream, and without like getting into the technical aspects of everything, it all depends on like if you're going to be streaming and playing off of your PC, or if you're just going to be like streaming off of consoles and stuff like that. It all depends on how you're doing stuff. But there is a way to do stuff on a budget. Um, you know, at home green screens. Manny knows
Mm-hmm.
what I'm talking about. Manny
Yep.
knows exactly what I'm talking about because I sent that thing to her in like a big old box. And and um
Pretty
I would
sure she
say,
still has it too.
I hope so. I mean, if not, I hope she has something that obviously is better for her, and has passed it on down to somebody else in need. But now it's like, make sure that it's something that you want to do, because it can be time consuming. Well, it is time consuming depending on how lucrative you want to be about it, and how involved you want to be, and like what's your goal for it. Like if your goal is to make it your primary source of income, like you better be ready to do this stuff like 7 days a week, and like doing reels and stuff like that, because it's a lot has changed from when we first started
Yes.
to now. Like, I'll admit my shortcomings. I don't do like reels and short small content.
Mm.
I
I
don't,
I
but
have
I need
trouble with
to.
that myself. Like, and that's
Yeah.
the thing. Like, we get hyper focused on one thing, but what people don't realize is when you start streaming and right basic stuff, right? You run your page, you do this, you do that. Awesome. Now you pull into now that reels are getting big is those short clips. Like tonight, I probably should advertise on my TikTok that we were doing this.
Right.
Oh,
Right.
oh, sorry.
But yeah,
Um,
it's a lot has changed. Like, it's like before when we started out, it was all about like going live as much as you could. and like just being live and being available for people to come watch. Now it's you want to hit that short content game. Like you want to hit reels, you want to pay attention to the algorithms and seeing what games are popular, what's not, because everything kind of ebbs and flows. And by all means, the most important thing, I think, no matter what, algorithms or not, be damned, enjoy what you're doing, because I've had games where it's like somebody asked me one time, like, ask me to play like Tenchu Stealth Assassins. I streamed it once. I'll never stream it again. Fuck that game. I mean, it just
Right.
no. I got no love for that game. I was like, this is horrible. I don't ever want to play it again, and I won't. Like, if I don't enjoy something, I'm not going to keep it up. You know what I mean?
Right. I mean, and
So
that's what I try to tell people is like, you can gift games. I will play the game. I'm not
yeah,
guaranteeing that I'll go back and play it, but I'm gonna try it. Just because y'all spent the money on a game, it'd be discourteous not to try.
I see you bringing up a clip of me playing Mario 35. God, I wish that was still a thing. I love that
Yo,
game.
some of that shit was wild. I've
Yeah.
ran a few clips of it. Vel wants to know, what is your favorite game and why is it Metroid?
I saw that. I was like, damn, that's a good one. Um asking me to pick a favorite game is like asking me to pick my favorite child. It can't be done. There are way too many. But um but I will say, like, Metroid is one of my favorite series for sure. I enjoy those Metroidvania type style games. Love Resident Evil stuff. I admittedly there's a lot of stuff where I'm like, I love the series, and I'm like, I need to get back and play some of the games. Like, I need to play Resident Evil 7 and 8. Um and just different things like that. Like, now I'm going to be hyper focused at the end of February whenever the new Final Fantasy game comes out, Rebirth. So I finally broke down, finally got around to getting a PS5
Hmm.
after 3 years of waiting. And I'm like, well, they forced my hand because it's only on PS5. So no time like the present. Let's do this. So got that. Um, so yeah, I mean, and obviously, like, love Legend of Zelda, love that series. Like, I like a game that is a good adventure and or a good storyline. Like, if you got a good storyline, and as long as the game plays well, like, graphics aren't as important to me, so I can
Right.
deal with that. You know what I mean? Um, I'll tell you a game that was like that took me by surprise. Um, Whenever I first played it, was Detroit Become Human.
Love
That
that
game,
game, dude.
great game, great game. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't know why I didn't think about it till now. I'm surprised I didn't mention this one. The entirety of the God of War series, those games, God Almighty,
I,
they are
I haven't
amazing.
played the last two that came out. I played one
Oh,
through three. I missed, what was it, four when they introduced Arceus,
oh, yeah. So yeah, it was
2016.
2018,
Was it
I
18?
think.
Okay.
I think, yeah, 20. So yeah, God of War 2018. So God of War 4, essentially, for
Right.
the PS4. Yeah, when Kratos goes to the Norse, when they start dealing with the Norse mythology stuff, he
Yeah.
gets he's ruined. Spoiler alert. Here you go. He's ruined everything in Greece. Olympus has fallen, all that. He got his vengeance, and then he just wants to get away from it. So he heads to, the land of all Norse stuff, and then shit goes down from there. So, but he ended up with a wife and a kid, and Atreus is, it's the I'll tell you right now, man, like, it's really cool. Like, obviously, I was surprised that they only had it in two games, as far as the
Right.
Norse stuff, because they were so huge with, like, the Greek mythology. Like, they stretched that out, across, like, the PSPs and stuff.
Yeah.
Um, but I still think they did a really, really good job, with these last two for, essentially God of War 4 and then God of War Ragnarok.
Right.
Um, I'd be excited to see like
Go with it next.
where they
Have
could
they
take it next.
done an Egyptian God of War?
No, but there's a lot of speculation that that could be next.
That
Um,
I mean, theoretically, based off time frames that they've gone through, that should be their next era of gods. Because Egyptian mythology really didn't kickstart till after really the Greek mythology was coming down to an end, or
um,
about the same time.
See, yeah, I'm not sure. Like, I'm not sure as far as like when we start talking about like the different areas and regions of mythology, like Norse versus Egyptian versus like Chinese and stuff. It's kind of funny because I was picking up my one book on our car ride to take the kids back, and it is like a world mythology book, and I was just reading about like Egyptian mythology. Now I'm getting into the chapters about like the Chinese mythology and stuff like that. So it's but there I mean they have you got mythologies from all over the world. So
Right,
there's options, but at a certain point then I think obviously like there is a certain point where they're gonna have to like things are gonna have to come to an end at some point, like for Kratos himself, because you know he's not he's not immortal. So
right.
eh, you know.
Thinks he
Now
isn't
Val,
pretty damn close.
yeah, Val, I don't have a one particular favorite game. It really depends on like what I'm feeling, what I'm in the mood for. Like, um, it depending on the genre too. Like, if you ask me, like, well, what's your favorite RPG? It would probably it would probably still be Final Fantasy VII. Um, but like it just depends on the genre and stuff like that. Cause like trying to compare an RPG to like a beat 'em up or a survival horror is like
Or a straight
apples and
shooter,
oranges. Yeah, or a straight shooter.
like what we're
Like
watching right now,
like
World War Z.
I am not a first person shooter fan, but I love World War Z, and like as far as first person shooters go, like I love Halo. But um but it's crazy because I'm not big into like Call of Duty and stuff like that. I never got around to it, never got into it, you know. But I do want to get back and play some more World War Z. Damn, you got me
About
jonesing,
that,
man.
there's one of the clips I was just playing. I'm like, speaking of a
I know,
shooter,
I know, right? I know.
but what would you say like typically on your feel like let's say your guilty conscience game, like right? We all have a whether we stream it or not, and people don't realize it. Do you have a guilty conscience game or a game that you're like, whatever? I like it, but it's not something that you stream or maybe wouldn't think about streaming because it's one of those guilty conscious games where you're like,
uh, Not so much a guilty conscience game. It's I would say there's times where I get into something in my own free time, um like recently in my free time, I was yeah, I don't have any guilty pleasure games per se, but I got into finally. I again, this is
there
one
it is.
like
Thank you, Val. Guilty
guilty pleasure
pleasure
game. Yeah.
game. Yeah.
Um so obviously Mario Odyssey was a game that came out like a while ago for the Switch, obviously. And I never got around to playing it because I'm just like, it's another Mario game, whatever. Like, same old shit. Whatever. Okay, I'm fine. Um, and it went on sale within the last 6 months. Nothing outrageous sale, but enough. Like, it came down from the usual AAA cost. And
Yeah.
I'm like, all right. I was like, I'll get it, because maybe I'll get around to playing it. And I started playing it. Dude, I love that game. And I'm like, and that, but so it's not even that the game itself is a guilty pleasure. I go, man, I should be streaming this now. And I wasn't because I
Hmm.
was like, well, you know what? This one's just for me. Like maybe I'll go back and I'll stream it at some point and actually know what the hell I'm doing. But I'm literally I got up to the very, very end. For anybody that has played Odyssey and knows about the completionist side of it, like the darker side of the moon, the very end of the game. I'm there. I just have not completed that. That is the last thing that I have to do. So, yeah. But nothing where I'm like, oh, this is it, like like a guilty pleasure song or anything. I don't think I have any games that I can think of that's like a guilty pleasure where I'm like, oh, I don't want to stream this because it's cringe, but I love it. Like I don't think I have any because if the game was like that cringe, I just probably wouldn't play it or whatever. I don't know.
One of those games like everyone hates this, but I love it.
I'm trying to think if there's one. I swear there. You know what? Okay, I'll give you one. I'll give you one. It's and I actually streamed it within the last year here. Um, it's not even so much guilty pleasure, but it's one that like heavily a lot of Metroid fans are not fans of was Metroid Other M. I like the game. I think it's just fine. But I truth be told, when I was playing it, there were some things I was definitely cutting up on it in there. I'm like, oh man, the voice acting or oh this or oh that. I'm like,
Just noticeable
okay.
things from playing other Metroids.
Yeah. I mean,
That's
and it's like and I would acknowledge it. I'm like, listen, I understand maybe this is why people don't like this game, but this aside, it's it's a pretty solid title.
right.
As long as it's not Fortnite, I'm fine.
You're fine.
Still never got around to that.
Yeah.
I have no intentions.
Nope. We we're pretty open and honest about our views of Fortnite here. So
I mean, I'm just big battle royales are not my thing because I don't have the time to pour into getting myself good, and I don't like the fact that there's a lot of games where like you can like pay to unlock shit that gives you a decisive advantage over other people. And I'm not saying that I don't know anything about Fortnite games. Like I don't know if that's something that is a thing in that where it's like, oh, well, if I actually pay for this, I can unlock this weapon or I can do this that gives me the absolute biggest advantage over anybody else that's just starting out. But I will say that is a gripe that I have with games in general.
mm.
But I'm just not a big battle royale type of guy. It's just not my niche.
Yeah, they're definitely rough and just a lot of those are hentai games, man. Yeah,
Mm,
a
I don't
lot of
know anything.
those
I don't know anything about those, Manuel. What kind of games are you playing?
hentai games, evidently.
Apparently,
But yeah, a
I
lot of
mean,
them battle
I
royale
guess,
type games are just they're all the
I guess,
same. If you want to get down to it, they're all the same.
I guess whatever Mania's playing over there, that could be a guilty pleasure game. That
I
might
bet
be
it is a guilty pleasure game.
that's something.
Oh man. Oh
Killing
my.
me, killing me. Oh my.
So would you say you kind of do you lean on like one what the hell's going on in your video? Do you have a certain like genre or maybe type of game that you kind of lean on when you're like I don't know what to stream, so just kind of
Oh yeah,
default to?
absolutely. Oh yeah, yeah, for sure. If I don't know, if I don't have something in particular to stream, like Super Metroid's my bread and butter, just because that's good old familiar, good old classic for me. And I have not been consistent with my goal of like doing um I wanted to at some point do like 100 of those challenge runs that I set out for myself. So like
Mm-hmm.
for anybody that is not familiar, um I would not call it a speed run. I mean, it is, but it isn't. But I'm not like glitching and doing any sort of like crazy tricks and anything tool assisted. Like it's just a regular Joe Schmo thing. I just happen to be very proficient at it. So I call it my challenge runs. Um, but my criteria is all bosses in the game to include the mini bosses. So I'm not skipping anybody. No glitches, 100% items, and a sub 2 hour clear time. That is my criteria for myself. And my goal is to do that consistently to get to at least 100 streams of that. Um, and then other amazing games like God of War Ragnarok and something else comes out, and then I get myself tied up in whatever. So I think I'm still sitting somewhere around like 20 out of 100. So I got a ways to go. But yeah.
So that and the when the new Metroid popped out, you were kind of heavy into that, weren't you? That the
Oh
new
yeah,
Metroid.
absolutely. Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, when that came out, I was all over that. And actually, like, it's kind of funny that you mentioned it because like that was probably the last I played it was when it came out. Like I beat it, I 100%ed it, and then I went for speed.
Yeah.
Then I went for hard mode. And I did that, and I did that fast. So did the 100% normal, 100% hard. Did speed running it normal, speed running it hard, and I haven't touched it really since then. And I'm kind of surprised at myself. Like it's a fantastic game. Like I think they did an amazing job with it. Um, it's it's a really good blend of I say, like, if Super Metroid and the Metroid on the 3DS game had a love child, then you get Metroid Dread. Like, the controls, like, it controls really smoothly with, like the 360-degree aiming and stuff like that, and, like, the
Hmm.
free aiming while you're running and stuff, like, it's a really good game, and as the title implies, the dread, like, the feeling of like you're being hunted down by the Emmys and stuff like that. Like that added a new aspect to it. Just
Yeah, those robots.
yes.
Yeah.
Oh my god, those things are terrifying. Like it kind of almost like it made it feel like a Metroidvania wanted to dip its toes into survival horror. And I mean, I was here for it. Like it was really good. Um, but it's just one of those things, like as much as I loved it, like I was trying to get to other things that were coming up, or I had other games that were, taking my attention. So not that I didn't enjoy it. I loved it, but I haven't touched it since then. And now I'll probably have to go back and correct that.
Oh. So you're not only here on Twitch, you're also on Facebook and YouTube when you do live
Cor-
streams.
so I do when I do my live streams, I just do Twitch just one night a week. I usually do like Tuesdays on Twitch. And I've kind of relegated that to being like kind of like my community streams.
Hmm.
Um I may start as a way to get back into World War Z and some other things. I may like anything that's really where I'm going to be like community involved, or whether it be like a World War Z or Among Us or whatever the case. Mario Party, Mario Kart, that may be like my like that may be my thing. I'm coming up with some ideas for what other games that I can do. Because I want something that's like accessible to a lot of people, but also at the same time, I want something that's gonna like um that people are gonna want to play too. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Hi,
So,
Scoob.
Gibby.
Yeah, that's kind of what we do here for Thursdays is we'll and I'm trying to find something bigger because we're getting a lot more people that want to join. Is
Right.
like 7 days, as much as I hate it, it has such a large ability to take on multiple people, more than like your average 4 or 5. Like you're looking at 18 people for a server.
Yeah.
But it's unfinished. It's like the Isles. When the Isles came out in 2015, it's still in early access and unfinished. People don't want to play unfinished games, and it's
Right.
very rinse and repeaty without that storyline. So now you're gonna have to throw in, okay, so let's do group of people north, south, to kind of separate the teams, build up your stuff, and giant PvP.
Yeah. That's always the challenge, is finding that right balance of like what people are interested in versus like what's gonna work.
Right.
Um, but yeah, so for now, Tuesday, just on Twitch on Tuesday nights. And then the other nights generally it's Monday through Thursdays. um Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday night I'll simulcast to Facebook and YouTube. Essentially I used to do all three before. But now, correct me if I'm wrong. I don't know how strict they are with it or not. But with Twitch, I know once you hit like affiliate, I think you're supposed to have your content that you put on there just exclusive to Twitch for the first 24 hours or something like that. If I'm correct
Uh,
me if I'm wrong.
I honestly don't know because I didn't look at it.
Okay.
But I
He's
know
like,
what.
I did not read the fine print, sir.
Uh, oop, my phone fell. Um, I know that once you get affiliate, you basically can't use it. Um,
Oh, well, that's good to know.
and I know you're allowed, unlike Facebook, they allow you to um use music in your background. So as long as it's not pre-recorded content, if you're live streaming, you can have music. It might knock you, but there's a way to go in, dispute the mute as under fair use, which is what it is, and they
Yeah.
unmute it and you're fine.
Huh.
Unlike Facebook,
Interesting.
they'll just shut your shit down.
Yeah,
So
we've all, I know I've been victim of that before. Like, I've definitely had to fight copyright strikes on
yeah,
Facebook. I had one time, um, and this is why I won't stream like, say like WWE 2K games or like like any sports games that use like actual artist music for like their menu music, because um with WWE they were using the entrance themes like is the music in the main menu for the
right.
most part.
In-game music getting you hit.
Yeah, and so like I got a copyright strike notice. Like, it wasn't even like your video's been partially muted. Like, WWE like blocked my video. I disputed it. They denied it. I appealed it, and then they had a week to respond. And if they didn't respond, then I would automatically. It was kind of like if you're
Right.
fighting a traffic ticket and the cop doesn't show up, you automatically win, sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
But they did end up reaching back out, and they accepted my appeal, and they were like, okay. So I was able to keep the video up. But then after that, I was like, I gotta mute the game music now or turn it down or whatever. Like,
Right.
that was kind of a pain. So that's a perfect example of like what works and what doesn't. Like, as much as I might want to play it, is it gonna work for the stream? Maybe, maybe not, because it might be more of a headache than what it's worth.
Right. Yeah, here, like, especially, and I tell people who do that, who do multi-stream, like stuff like you can pre-record stuff all you want.
Yeah.
So if you pre-record it and upload it to Twitch, it can't have music.
Right.
If
Right.
you're live streaming, you can have live music going.
That's interesting though, because that's there's I'll admit that there's a lot with Twitch that I'm not as privy to, because I kind of, Facebook was the first audience, and that's kind of where my focus is primarily. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I started with YouTube and Twitch a little after, like it was in like March or April, a year after I was already on Facebook. So then that's when I started doing like the 3 tier simulcasting there. So,
Yeah.
ooh, Scooby, good question. What's a game that I played that I'm 100% sorry I did because it was total garbage? Besides Tenchu Stealth Assassins? Um, oh God. I'm trying to think if there was one or not. Besides that, like, I know there was. Oh God, I'm trying to remember. I don't think it was for the Retro League. I think it was I think it was one that somebody requested I play. Was like Dick Tracy or something for the NES, and like Rambo for Sega. Those were hot garbage. Um, I
You're
think
not wrong.
I probably blacked it out and blocked it out of my mind. There's games that I played that I was like not as impressed with, that I thought I expected more. Like, there was a game, I think it's called oh, you know what? Actually, I just remembered one too. But um, there was a game called We Happy Few. Um,
I remember that.
it looked cool, but I don't know what it was. It just didn't quite do it for me. Um, So I wasn't as impressed with that. Also, I had started actually again within the last year. I remember doing this, was one of the Amnesia games.
Love
I don't,
Amnesia.
I don't know what I was expecting, but I was just kind of like, all right, this isn't doing it for me. So I streamed it like once, maybe twice. I was playing, and then I was like, I just stopped. I was like,
Yeah,
I've had,
some of
yeah.
them get pretty lengthy for what you have to do, but we've
I
done every single one of them here.
I was expecting like actual like survival horror, and it was kind of more like a kind of like puzzle game, and I was just like, I don't know, I just wasn't here for it. But to each their
See,
own. I'm
I
like, yeah, I'll move it on to
sure.
whatever other game.
Yeah, man. So I am in an active debate, not debate because I'm right, with
Oh, here we
Mania
go.
about. Well, have you ever played Little Nightmares? Either one of them
No,
doesn't matter.
no, but I have them.
Okay, so
Well, I think I have at least one. At
the
least one.
same concept that applies in Little Nightmares as Amnesia, right? And I compare the two games quite frequently. She goes, no, no, yes, it is. You're weaponless, you run and hide, and you need to find an exit. It is
Okay.
a I call it a child friendly version of Amnesia because you're basically doing the same thing. There's, and you wake up, there might be a storyline. Um, but you need to sneak around, find your little gadgets, use your gadgets to make a further advance. There's no way for you to combat the enemies. There's no real like controller instructions like, hey, this is how you use this. So you have to
Okay.
run or hide. It's not as scary as Amnesia. I'm going to use scary in quotes.
Yeah.
But the same concept applies to one game as it does the other. I'm being told
Man,
it doesn't. Yeah, they're probably in the chat right now saying it's not the
Mania
same.
Mania is in the chat. She's like, can I join or not?
Yeah, you can
I
join.
don't
Come
care.
on in.
I'm ready to hear
The
this
the
debate.
the only one that I have up on Discord cam is Bell. That's an easy fix.
Um, yeah, I mean, it's don't let my
Mind you,
kids play
I
the
didn't
games.
call it a
Yeah,
bad game by any chance, right?
yeah,
I just
right.
compared the two because I've played both, so I can.
Okay, fair enough. I don't know because I haven't played Little Nightmares yet, but if I get around to it, then I'll have a better answer for you.
So
Um,
she said, "Don't let your kids play that game." I didn't notice any cursing or anything highly inappropriate about it.
It's
I mean,
extremely inappropriate for kids.
well, okay, now keep in mind how old are your kids compared to
8
mine
and
though?
10.
Okay, so mine are Connor will be 13 in May, and
Yeah,
Lilia
he's
and Lilia just turned 12.
yeah, he's
Yeah.
probably like yours is probably a little bit more fine. But
Like
he
like
how
I
he's saying like, oh, it's a kid friendly. Like, no,
well so like I
Comparatively, that is extremely kid friendly.
so
it's
I
about the same.
so I mean right after I was done streaming the Resident Evil light gun games, the
Yeah.
Dark Side Chronicles,
Oh yeah.
um but my kids, I was playing it on the weekend or whatever, they're here, and they're not scared of it. So I was like, you want to
Right.
join in with me? That's fine, cool. They're all about it. I was like, all right. I was like,
Yeah.
well, if you can handle this, like that's fine.
Right.
We were actually trying to get them into um like introducing them to like some scary movies and stuff like that. Um,
Hmm.
like different things. Cause I mean, like Five Nights at Freddy's came out, they watched it, no problem, whatever.
Yeah.
Um, things like that. But like just other of like what kind of PG horror stuff
Hmm.
can we get them into? Cause we are our horror family, we are our horror friendly household here. So
No, yeah, they're probably totally fine.
yeah.
Like 8
But
and 10, it's a little different or whatever. And like, it's not so much because like my oldest, of course, she's like really interested in a lot of things I do. She's like, it's not scary. I'm like, yeah, okay, but it's just my job to not let you. And then like, here soon, sure, I'll just be like certain things where I'm like, yeah, okay, whatever. But for now,
right,
it's still
I
a no.
Yeah, like I was telling Semper I got um my youngest, she got a VR for Christmas. That was one of the things that was like you either get one big gift or you can get a bunch
Yeah.
of smaller gifts, and they both opted for the big gift. So
Yep.
one got a VR, one got a laptop. Cool. All right.
there.
Nice.
We're set. So with the VR, I had to set up my Meta account, and
Yeah,
so I can
I'm
supervise.
needing to
Yeah.
do that, and I'm a little worried.
So
But
here's what I did. I thought that I was gonna have to for the MetaQuest VRs, if that's the route that
yeah,
you went. Okay, so I thought
yeah,
I was
that's
gonna
what
have
they
to.
got. I didn't. They got one though.
Right. So okay, fair enough. So I
Yeah.
thought I was gonna have to set her up her own Facebook account, but that's not the case. So I just made her I made her a Gmail account,
Okay.
which I can technically still supervise. Um, but then she has her Gmail to make her Meta
Mhm.
profile or whatever, and then I had to make a Meta profile to supervise hers, and then so anytime she wants to play a new game or something like that, like I can preview it and approve or not approve. So
Okay.
it's actually not as bad. I thought it was going to be way more complicated and
Yeah.
way more of a headache. I will say the only thing that's
Oop.
kind of a pain is if if she wants to buy games, um basically I have to buy them and then gift them to her.
Okay.
Um and if you're looking to use gift cards on the and I'm probably saying this and there's probably people out there going no shit Sherlock, but this is the first time I'm
No,
really
yeah,
into
I
VR.
don't.
Um, if you have if you want a gift card to use, get the actual MetaQuest gift cards.
Mhm.
If you have a generic one of those Visa gift cards, that you can get at the store or something for somebody for
Yeah.
whatever $50, you can't use those. You can only use a MetaQuest gift card or put
Okay.
your debit or credit card on there for shop purposes.
Huh.
Okay.
But it won't. But you won't put it on her account. You put it on
Yeah.
yours, and then just buy stuff and gift it to the child's account. So,
Okay.
but I like I told Semper, I'm definitely gonna be fucking up some Beat Saber here this week for sure because
Yeah.
I played the demo and I was like,
Yeah.
I don't care if you want this game or not. I'm buying this game. I'm
That was
all
one of the
about it.
main reasons I've pretty much wanted VR since day one was the physical games I could play and then the gun sim games I could play. I was super
Yeah.
excited. I was all for it. I was like, I want to do Beat Saber. I want to do the little boxing one. I want to do the dancing ones. I want to do the
She's
gun sim games.
she's having a there's some sort of I'll find the name of it here if I have my.
EVB.
We got Evie.
Maybe.
Hi.
EVB's here, yeah. In the chat.
Yeah, those the one that I'm so mad that I was late because Dad was the one. I was so excited to get Dad on here. I was pushing. I've been pushing Dad and you on here. I was gonna be like, Dad! I was gonna be so excited to get you in, and then I'm late. So, hi, by the way. Yeah.
It's all
But
good. Hi.
yeah, he'll be the one
There.
that's super excited for Evie. Evie will come in here and be like, Evie. So
Nah,
yeah.
it's um. I'm trying to find the game here. What was it called? Oh,
Blair
no,
Witch.
not Gorilla Tag. So she has Gorilla
Oh
Tag.
my
She loves
gosh,
that.
my kids, yeah. Well, and my family was saying it too, with all right, you have to set it up with your Facebook profile, and that's what made me very nervous. Because I was like,
Same. That's what I thought too. But no, as long as you just have a as long as you have a valid email, you can link your Meta account,
mm-hmm.
your Meta Quest or Meta Horizon, whatever they call it, the Meta Horizon profile. I don't know, but you can link that through your Facebook to be the supervising account. Um,
Okay,
and they don't have to have a Facebook because that was my worry too. And I was
yeah,
asking my one buddy about it. And then as I went to set it up, I'm like, just get an email, so it's all good.
yeah,
She just requested not long ago it's called Super Hot VR. It's a demo. It's like a little shooter thing. And
yeah, super hot. Mm-hmm.
yeah, that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, there's that, but yeah, I it's not too bad.
No, it's very that game isn't less about gunplay and stuff like gun simming or whatever, and more about what you call threat detection and reaction.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
what do I need to handle in this moment first before it gets to me type of thing, which is pretty cool. It's not there's no blood or violence or anything. It's all very simulated looking,
yeah.
whatever. So
And I
I
was like,
really think that was one of the cool better ones, and I think it's pretty cool.
Yeah, and I was like, well, you did play the Resident Evil light gun game with me, so I suppose this isn't a problem.
Yeah.
Like, why not?
This is definitely a step down. This is fine.
Yeah, it's probably fine.
But yeah, man, since you're now here, do you have any questions you'd like to ask Dad?
Yeah, what burning
Like,
questions do you
Oh
have for
my
me
why
that you have
God.
hasn't he
not asked
come
me
back?
over the
Like, why
like,
hasn't he come back from milk and cigarettes yet?
That's probably my fault. I'm kind of annoying. Probably my fault.
What's
Hey,
taking
don't-
so long?
don't feel bad. Commodore's still asking me the same thing too.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Commodore banned again. Has he been banned again yet? Like that man was on a
I
roll
don't
for a
think so.
while.
No,
He's
I
been-
see his
He's never
notification.
he's never brand. It's for me. It was never Bandigan. It was always just Bradigan.
That's fair.
He's such a brat.
But I love him just the same. He's
Yeah.
Well,
my
you can. That's
he's my
fine.
unofficially
Mhm.
unofficially
Adopted son.
adopted son. Yeah.
He's my number one frenemy.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie. It does something for me whenever I go into the stream. He's like, "Hello, daddy." Like,
Yeah.
I can so
I haven't been able to catch his streams in so long. I feel bad for not seeing
Yeah.
the guy.
dude,
I mean,
I'm gonna say that's something I think we all, after a certain point, like it's when you get to a certain point when you're trying to get more involved with your own thing, with your own page.
Yeah.
It's obviously like it's so much harder to get out there and like to actually sit and watch somebody stream. Like most times, you guys probably know, and I'm gonna say this is like my generic go-to is like the hey, pop it in for a quick like and share, have a good
Yeah.
stream, and
Yep.
I'm passing on
Yeah.
through to the next town. I'm moving
Yeah.
on to the next store for the next pack of smokes and next gallon of milk. You know?
Yeah. I made my parents
Doesn't
happy
want my
Christmas, you
many other
brat.
children.
Oh man.
No, I think when y'all had kind of touched on what one of the things I was just going to ask, whatever, is like as a streamer or whatever, mostly, as a gamer, you're pretty open to like a lot of games or whatever, and not to like pigeonhole yourself, but as a streamer, would you say you're more of like a retro streamer, like you kind of prefer more of like that retro style type of gaming, or you just kind of general yourself as like, well, I kind of do a lot of everything, like
I would say I generalize myself more as a variety streamer. Like, I mean,
Mhm.
obviously things will come in ebbs and flows. Like, when I first started off, I was definitely more retro heavy because,
yeah,
I might not have had the particular consoles or whatever it was, available to me at the time to do newer, more, more recent titles and stuff like that. Now, I at least have that option. But I'll still go more variety because just as soon I'd be just as quick to pick up again like the new Final Fantasy when it comes out as I was to like going back and doing some Super Metroid or going back and doing something off the Wii or the Wii U. Like I'm not
yeah,
opposed to that. It just kind of honestly it's just kind of whatever I'm feeling at the time, or I'll
yeah,
take a look at the collection and I'll go, what haven't I played in a while, or what have I been wanting to
right,
play for a while, and kind of go based off of that.
yeah. So I would even say too, like not even so much like retro titles, but definitely have like your franchises that you stick with, right? Like you definitely like, like the Final Fantasy, the Resident Evil, and you have quite a few
Metroid, yeah,
Nintendo titles
Zelda.
that you
Oh yeah,
enjoy that you've pretty much done throughout your life or whatever. So
absolutely, yeah. Yeah,
yeah,
there's definitely the like I think it was asked earlier, like kind of like what's a game, like what's one of my go-tos if I don't know what I want to stream. Like absolutely Super Metroid is
Let's
my
see.
Gazoon type.
so
Bless you again. Godzilla, Mothra. That's non-denominational. Um feel free to use that.
Yes.
So it's yeah, Super Metroid is one, obviously it's very much a retro title, SNES, but it's a good go-to because it's like turning on your favorite TV show as like a comfort TV show, you know what I mean? Like
Right.
it's an old familiar friend that I can go back to and have little to no troubles with. And obviously something I still enjoy. It's something too where I can go now. I'm like, okay, last time I cleared it in like an hour and 59 minutes. Can I get it to like a few minutes faster this time? And some of it is of my own volition. Sometimes it's just bad RNG. It depends,
Right.
you know.
Gotta love the
But there's
RNG.
the RNG factor. Oh boy.
Yeah.
Gotta love that. Yep.
And that goes to a lot of, like, especially RPG style games, is that RNG. Because
Yeah.
especially when it comes to Metroid, because even once you start getting into randomizers, right, your RNG,
Yep.
it might be there, it might be over here, like, and I've done a couple of them, which I think at some point I think that would be cool for you, especially for you to get into, for how familiar you are with that Metroid game, is to throw
Yep.
in a randomizer and change stuff because you know whereabouts everything is.
Right.
Um,
And I did one, well, I did not so much a randomizer, but I did do like one Super Metroid ROM hack before.
yeah.
I think I tried out another one or two, but I could not grasp them for the life of me. But I did do one Metroid ROM hack. Um, but a perfect example of a good use of RNG was in World War Z, because like
Mm,
sometimes we'd get like exactly what we needed for defenses to set up for the horde, and other times we were like,
scrap.
good luck, fuckers.
Yeah.
Okay, I leave
Yeah.
now. Good luck, everyone else.
Yeah, the few times we played that game a few times,
Yeah.
because it was free to play. I think I was on PlayStation or something when I had it or whatever, and I
Yeah.
was just
Yeah.
like, "Phew, this shit kind of rough. And that's where
Can
like being playing like Back for Blood and stuff. But I
Yeah.
think that was part of it too. Is like Back for Blood. I feel like there's a little bit more that you have control of with like setting up your decks and like picking your particular character, stuff like that or whatever, where you don't really get too in depth with all that kind of stuff with the World Orgy or whatever. It's kind of like, well, this character can do this, and then the rest of it is kind of RNG or whatever.
Well, yeah. I mean, pretty much with like with World War Z is like pretty much the only thing that varied was like the depending on what class you picked. So you
Mhm.
had a little bit of control over certain skills and stuff like that, but you just had to you had to decide what was best for you, like certain
Yeah.
situations, and depending on like who else you're playing with and like what they're picking, like
Mm-hmm.
their
Mhm.
classes or their abilities. So like that's actually like a lot of times we would be talking that out before we go. I'm like, okay, I'm going to use the Hellraiser.
Yep.
I could
Yeah.
use a drone master here and somebody for this. And,
Mhm.
can somebody be a medic? And if not, I'll take medic and I'll do this. But like,
Sure.
so that aspect, that was the most between that. And then obviously like when you're going throughout, like, um, given what you have, like you have that much control, like, okay, well, we can decide to do this, go in with this plan. But yeah, I did like the randomizing aspect of like you don't always get the same weapon pickups.
Yeah.
Um,
Mhm.
which is a blessing and a curse, because sometimes I'm like, man, I really want to level up this shotgun, but then I don't pick up
Mm,
that particular one for like forever. I'm like, damn, like,
Right.
yeah, yeah.
You had said before that, but Halo, you
Uh-huh.
still like Halo. Have you gotten back into Infinite? Because I know my brother and them have been wanting to get me back into it as well, and I was like, maybe.
I had no, the last, what the hell was the last one that I played? What was the last one that came out on Xbox One?
Reach.
I think so. Yeah.
So because me and Brian from Classic Concurrent Gaming, we did like a playthrough, like going back and doing like Reach, and then 1, 2, uh, ODST, and then 3, and then I guess it'd be Halo. Well, yeah, there was a Halo. Was it Halo 4? Or what did they call it? Because
Infinite.
Reach was no, there was. I thought it was just Halo 4. I don't know. I can't. I feel bad that I can't remember. But so much to say is like I like the Halo games, like because they had a good story. But like in general, first person shooters were not normally my thing. Like the Call of Duties and stuff like that. and I'm sure that there's probably some
Oh
sort
wow,
of storyline.
they have a lot of Halos out. Holy sh! They
Yeah, what?
got
So
Combat
yeah,
Evolved in 21, First Strike 03, Halo 2 in 04, Onyx in 07,
okay,
Contact Harvest 07, Halo 3 07, the Cole Project 08, Evolutions 09, Halo Wars in 2009, ODST, Reach in 2010, Cryptum in 2011, Combat Evolved Anniversary, and Halo 4 Forward Onto Dawn in 2012. Um, Primordium in 2012, Halo 4 in 2012, uh, Silentium in 13, Spartan Assault in 13, Master Chief Collection in 14, Spartan Strike in 15, Guardians in 15, Halo Wars 2 in 17, and Halo Infinite in 2021.
okay. So it was probably. I'm trying to think if I played Guardians or not. Whatever the. So a lot of those were like just older re-releases, like as far as like Halo, like Reach, Fall of
Right.
Reach, or whatever that one was. Like, I think it was like a 360 title that they probably like ported over onto Xbox One or whatever. But like, um, I think we played Guardians. I can't remember. I'd have to ask him. But I didn't play Infinite, and I was told by a number of people that it was hot garbage and not to play it, but I don't know, like I just never got around to it. So
That's fair. Scooby had posted, "What's your least favorite Metroid and why?"
my least favorite Metroid is probably the OG original. Oh,
Oh
no, you know
wow.
what? It's a close tie. The OG like original NES one, not the Metroid Zero Mission, because that's at least a little bit more friendly and forgiving as far as like they kind of give you a half idea of where you're supposed to go. The OG
Yeah.
one, you got no map and good luck. Um um and then probably Metroid 2, the OG Game Boy version, because again, you've got like no map and good luck because everything looks the same on the Game Boy at that point, so you don't know
Yep.
like where the hell you're going.
Yeah.
I'd say probably the Game Boy and then NES, so it's like 1A and 1B. Um Probably those two. However, again, the remakes of those much better. Much more tolerable. And actually the remake of 2 that they did for the 3DS, fantastic game. If anybody has a way to play it other than actually on the 3DS console, or if you have a 3DS, I suggest playing that for sure. Yeah.
Hey, game
I was
recommendations from Dad.
thinking of it earlier, and then Alex showed up and reminded me that you got into you were kind of still into or whatever the Fatal Frame series, and that's something I see
Yes.
Alex play a lot too. I got Lady of the Water, and I still, because that was a series I just missed out on, and I love Asian and Japanese culture, whatever. So I never got to play them, and I always wanted to. And I think I've like picked your brain about them before as well. But what did you like this other one? Because I know that you played it, and I saw Alex playing it, and I was kind of not watching you guys on purpose because that was the one I have now,
Yeah.
and I
Yeah.
want to play it. But did you really enjoy it?
Oh, love that series.
Yeah.
So I mean, I got 1, 2, and 3 on.
Hmm.
I still have the physical copies on PlayStation 2. Um, I have streamed those, and actually that I can't remember if it was the second or the third one that I was playing. But when I was playing it, um, my the best advice that I ever got from one of my in real life friends was, quote, "Kick him in the dick," and I said, "The ghosts
Sounds
don't
like
have
a
dicks."
sounds like a
So
slappy comment.
yeah, so it's so that spawned the Dick Cake City
That
shirt.
was it.
Thankfully, that spawned it because Taylor was in the stream. Then he's like, "We can make that
Yeah.
happen." Um,
Oh my
no,
gosh.
I love that whole series. And it's really cool because the first, second, and the third game are they're all their own things. The third game,
Hmm.
it's been a while since I played. but I believe the third game ties in stuff a little bit from the first and second together. Maiden of the Black Water, the one that you're talking about, that's
Mhm.
on. It came out originally on Wii U, and then they brought it over to Switch.
Yeah.
Um, I can't remember the storyline to that, if it goes back and addresses stuff from any of the earlier games or not.
Mhm.
Um, and then there was the latest one that they released. It was one that was not previously released in the US. It was released only over in Japan on I believe on the Wii.
Oh wow.
Was Mask of the Lunar Eclipse. So
Mhm.
if you like any one of those games, I think you'd probably like the entire series. So like if you get a chance,
Yeah.
I'd definitely go back. Like the stories are fucked up. Like
Yeah.
crazy. Like especially the first three
Yeah.
games. Like if
Right.
you think Maiden of the Black Water's messed up, go back and definitely play the first and second. You're gonna go, oh my god.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Alex said that it does make some references to the past ones.
Yeah.
Alex has played all of them, so yeah.
And it's really cool because it's really good for
3
jump
is super
scares.
long. I would love to see if they would make one more like, and I know it's kind of like goes back and forth with the first person thing, like only the capturing and stuff like that, the combat scene, whatever. But I just think it would be so great if it was VR. Like, can you
Oh my
imagine? It
god.
would be
Oh
so
my
Well,
god.
terrifying.
the thing about Blair Witch's VR,
Cool.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
I,
would
I
that
have
was
that.
great. I loved watching you play that. That was one
I
of the
haven't
best
got to
times I
play
ever
it in
had.
VR yet.
I would piss my pants probably. Like I know
Yeah.
they have I know they have like a couple of the Resident Evil games on VR, which I would love to try out. But we'll see. But there was one of the ones, again, it was around the same time whenever I was playing the one and we, coined the Dick Kick City shirt.
Right.
I was playing the game and I wish I had the clip of it. I know I don't have it anymore.
Mhm.
But I was playing and I'm walking around, you're walking around in third person. And and as you know, Mania, like for anybody else that doesn't know, obviously, you'll use your camera to fight off spirits and stuff, like harmful ghosts, but you also use it to like investigate things, like take pictures of stuff to get clues to like kind of tell you where you need to go and what you need to do next or what you need to look for. And so I was near something that I needed to take a picture of. So I'm walking around. I pull up my camera. No sooner, I swear to God, I pull up my camera and there's this little ghost girl in front of me. And I go, Jesus Christ. And I about jumped out of my skin. And I was like, I probably woke the
Yes.
neighbors, probably woke the kids. Everybody's going to hate me. But holy Christ, I stopped. I had to pause the game and I just sat there and I'm like, that just happened. I was like, let me check myself. Still dry.
Doesn't
Good.
happen. Yeah, that doesn't
Oh
happen
my
often.
god.
So
Yeah.
talk about you.
Ripper had one of those, but it's clipped.
Yeah, it's
It's
clipped, and it
amazing.
was like I was so just gone from like I don't
Yeah,
know how
Dick
long I
Dick.
was live. Like at the end of Blair Witch,
Oh well,
it
then
fucking.
that's two. That's not the one I'm even talking about.
Are you talking about my Call of Cthulhu one?
Yeah,
Yeah, that
Oh,
one
I want
got
to
me
play
too.
that
that.
one killed you for a
That
moment
one,
there.
that one fucking took me because I wasn't ready for it. I'm like, yeah, whatever.
Those out of nowhere.
Bam. Like,
Yep.
okay, no, but the Blair Witch one,
That was fucked up. That was genuinely creepy. Like that was like one of
yeah.
those. It wasn't even
So
a jump scare. It was just like,
odd. So I remember this clear as day. I was playing this game in a red shirt, right?
mhm.
Okay.
And I'm hitting this, and the game is weird already, and it starts flashing a person running in a red shirt. So I'm like, that's weird. And I turn a corner on a staircase, and it flashes my fucking name on this fucking game.
Oh Jesus.
And
It was like written in blood or something. It said Adam, and the dude's wearing a red shirt. It's like giving you flashes of like what happened to this person, and like you're
Yeah.
investigating it. So the frigging guy is named Adam, wearing the red shirt, and he's just like freaking the fuck out.
I had to pause the game. I'm like, yo, someone go play this shit right now. up to this point and tell me if it flashes their fucking name and if
That's
it
crazy.
matches their shirt. There, like that's how out of it I fucking like. I was tired drinking. I think I don't know, but it was enough to throw me where I had to pause the fucking game.
Yeah, that's
crazy.
like there's definitely some good jump scares in the Fatal Frame series, but like overall, like besides the jump scares, like the story is just like super fucked up and super intriguing.
Right.
And just overall creepy is really cool. That's why I would love to get back to I would love to get back to like the Resident Evil games and like play 7 and 8.
Mhm.
Because the most I played was the demo for 7, and I was like, ooh, this is really messed up. And it's like and again, it was like obviously at this point, like that's been a departure from the quote unquote Resident Evil classic styles.
Yes.
Um so I'd be interested to see like how much more scary it is and stuff like that, especially with like now it's like, obviously graphics being what they are and then like everything else. Like I'm interested. I've seen some
Right.
Yeah.
gameplay here and there and I'm like, damn, this
I'll,
looks rough.
I'll tell you, I played both of them. I 7 is definitely harder than 8, my opinion.
Okay.
I think 8's longer though.
Eight
Is
is longer because there's more
Not
to do.
including DLC.
Right.
7 would be pushing it, including DLC, because DLC kind of continues the story a little bit. It kind of like goes off to the side, but still, like, you know how that is, where it's
You
like,
talking
okay,
about
this is
eight's
what
DLC,
happened.
8's or 7's DLC?
7.
Okay.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
It kind of just give you different parts of like what happened elsewhere,
Yeah.
kind of thing.
Yeah.
Difficulty
Which
low,
Resident Evil
I'd
is
give it
good
to
at
7.
Okay.
Just because of some of
Yeah.
the fights in it.
Fucking
Eight
terrible.
isn't bad. And that's still learning the mechanics and everything. I'm still gonna give it to 7.
Yeah.
Eight
would
is longer. But
I think 8 kind of went back to being more like puzzly,
Yes.
and you still have your fights, and like I think 7 was very different and it got a little bit of negative feedback, but it's still a solid game. Like
It is.
It's
Yeah.
really the only ones
I
I've
mean,
played through, to be
even
honest, in
at
the
best,
Resident
like
Evil series. But
the RE series, a lot of people have split on 4, right? Four is usually the make or break. Where I will argue that either 0, 6, or 5 would be the worst.
I would see. I can't say anything solid about 6 because I started to play it on my own, and I think I started playing. I know there's like multiple characters or multiple storylines that you could go through. I
Right.
started using Leon, but I didn't make it very far at all, and I was like absolutely destroyed. I'm like, how the fuck is this even possible? I know 6 gets a lot of shit from people.
Yep.
So
yeah,
I haven't gone back to that yet. 5 I played with a friend co-op.
It's the only way you can
So
do it.
yeah, so I don't know how well I would do on my own with that.
Sheva is as about as useless as Ashley in 4.
I now see. I mean, as far as I will say, like I'll say main canon ones, but I don't know how people view like Revelations or Revelations 2.
I love
I have those, but
Revelations too.
I have them, but I never played through them. I think I
Um,
started playing through Revelations, I think, but I never beat it. So like the Revelations and 6 are the only ones that I haven't.
I'd say you'd probably like Revelations if you play through it. It has a solid story behind it and fills in a lot of backspace in the Resident Evil game.
look, all the Wii ones.
Right.
Yeah.
You still have God, who did I put? Hank's not in there. Who God, Barry.
Barry, okay, gotcha. Yeah.
So you have a lot of those side characters, not so much the main characters,
Okay.
but it's still a decent story.
Yeah,
It still
see,
has those puzzles, the fights.
And
But
I won't
like
count.
them.
I won't count. I won't count like Resident Evil Gaiden or whatever for the
Yeah, no.
whichever Game Boy system it was.
Yeah,
I won't
yeah.
count that. But so the Revelations 6 and then 7 and 8 are the only ones I haven't played and beaten at
Yeah,
one point or another. So
a lot of us are debating on how 9's going to play out because supposedly 8 was the end of the Winters family. Done. Like even the daughter's not going to be in the next one supposedly.
See, I know
obviously,
nothing about this. I
Yeah.
kind of
Yeah, that's what
purposely
like
yeah, I
Seven
didn't
really
pay attention.
scared off.
I didn't pay attention to either one because I was like, I
Mhm.
know I want to play them at some point, so I tried not to
Yeah.
like
Which,
know anything about
Oh
it
yeah.
yet.
yeah. So like
Yeah.
it's weird because in my eyes, like you have 7 and 8, which are standalone, but yet they run with the story. But why only make 2 of them? And why wouldn't you make a third one that would, in theory, fit what they've done in Resident Evil up to this point? 1, 2, 3 trilogy, 4, 5, 6. There you go. Then you have 7, 8 with nothing that really leads into 7 and nothing that's supposedly leaving out of 8. So you just
Yeah.
have those 2 standalone games. Why?
And
I don't know.
what
Well, and then
I
don't
thought
forget
they were doing, I agree with Viper. I don't think they'll push 9 yet. I think they'll do another remake, like everybody's kind of
Code
thinking, and
Veronica.
then
God, please let
That's
them do
what
a
we're
Code
hoping.
Veronica remake. Oh my god.
Yeah,
Would love it.
that's the
maybe.
community thought was
Yeah.
Code Veronica because 5 they don't need a remake. Period.
No.
The
they
graphics
don't.
are too new. The storyline's trash. You can't really beat it in single
I
player.
just hate it so much. If they
I
remade
do.
it, I guarantee they're gonna fix the mechanics.
They
They're
no,
gonna, if they have it that way, they would just switch back to the part where you just switch between the 2 fucking characters.
which
This is like
would be
Yeah.
literally the
beneficial,
only
but
game that they make you co-op, and nobody really liked it.
Yeah,
So
it's great
I mean,
co-op.
I could see them. As far as remakes go, I could see them obviously redoing Zero. I could see them redoing Code Veronica, which I would
yeah,
love remakes of both of them. They don't need another remake of a remake of Resident Evil 1. Like I think that one's
No,
fine the way it
yeah.
was. Like that one's
Well, they
fine.
kind of just remastered it though. They didn't like technically remake it, right? Like they just remastered the first one.
No. Well, I mean, it was a little bit of a remaster, but they actually added in other stuff.
Oh, okay.
Like Lisa Travers is like I think that's her name, but Lisa is like a newer boss that was not in the original.
Okay.
And then they added in the Crimson Head zombies. Like that was a whole nother mechanic. Like having
Mhm.
zombies that come back and aren't truly dead and you have to like burn them and shit like that. Those things were fucking
right.
nightmare
So
inducing. Oh my god.
I want to touch on what Alex said real quick. Alex said that he heard 9 might be the end this last. I doubt because Resident Evil is a staple in Capcom, moneymaker. Granted,
Really is.
granted, when Monster Hunter came out, Monster Hunter sold more copies than 2 versions of Resident Evil, but Resident Evil is ingrained with Capcom. So we talked about this off stream, and we can bring it up for debate at another time, and or we can
Yeah.
talk about it later so we don't take up Dad's time with it. But I see them bringing back OG characters to do a farewell to the OG characters. Not necessarily ending Resident Evil itself as a game series, but all the old people need to retire.
Right, because Chris
Right.
is in 8.
Right.
You know, like he made an appearance in 7 and was in the DLC, and then like he's in pretty heavily involved in 8. And that's
Right.
kind of what I thought that they were going for. They're like, oh, they're still here, but their role is shrinking, and look at these
Right.
new people we're bringing. And I kind of thought what they were doing with the Winters, family.
Yeah,
like,
Well, which is why I
here's the
don't
new
buy that it's the end
character
of
and
Winter.
whatever.
Because
but and
Right.
without spoiling anything, obviously for me,
Mm.
I would love to see like what the hell's happened to Claire, like
yeah,
and
which is
what's
why it
poor
makes
Claire.
which is
God,
why it makes more sense to do like a
just
farewell to the
abandoned.
OGs
No
than
big
it
deal.
would be to go from 8 to something new like that.
Yeah.
9 would help make that bridge where you can say farewell to the old and introduce new and keep the RE series alive and going and still have that money in the
And
bank
what
for you because
his
there's gonna
kids,
be
I mean,
people.
there was a next generation already introduced, and
Right.
if the Winters, family, again, here's another character like from the other side, not directly involved in the umbrella, under the umbrella incorporation, someone completely different who was just affected, and now kind of is forced to combat this thing, so it'd kind of be like
Right.
a whole nother round of characters. So I don't think it'll be ending. But for them saying we don't want to do anything further with the winters would be a surprise.
Right. And again, I don't want to ruin anything for Dad, which is why I'm trying to be very
Right, being very
careful of
light
what
with
I'm
it.
saying.
Being very light. I'm not even
Um,
saying any names.
But
Yep, yep.
just because of how it ended and the wording on how it ended makes me think that's not true.
Right.
So for those of you who
Yeah.
have watched us play that game and then beat fucking Slappy, I love you, dude. I fucking amazing race with Slappy on that.
Close.
There's
Yeah,
just
I mean-
so much that makes me wonder.
Yeah,
And-
it's hard to say what they'll do, and because obviously, like certain series, like short of Mario, like there's not many
Mm.
series that have a super long, like a super big longevity, but also are like super big money makers. Like again,
Right.
like
Right.
And a
Zelda's been
massive fan base.
like
Massive.
Yeah.
pretty much like Mario and Zelda are like the long, I would say probably like arguably the two longest running franchises, but even still it's like 1A and 1B. Like
Mhm.
Right.
Zelda's gotten popular more so
Mhm.
lately, but like not a lot of people were, rocking the love for Link like how they have for Mario over the years. You know what I
Right.
mean? So
Oh
like
yeah.
so it's hard to say what they would or wouldn't do with Resident Evil, even though it's a long ongoing thing. It's I don't know. At a certain point, they're probably it's like how much more can we milk this series for? You know what I
Well,
mean? Like
Mhm.
Well, think about it. Every generation. They just remade 1, 2, 3. Right.
They
Whole
did,
new
they did.
generation. 1, 2, 3 can play it. Boom. There you go, kid. And for nostalgic purposes, people who have loved Resident Evil since the '90s are gonna want to play it either to see the differences, to
Yeah.
feel that nostalgia that they might not be able to get because they can't play the OG games anymore because they don't have the system for it. But then that
Right.
opens up to, okay, we did all this and they changed some things in it just from
Yeah.
fights. Is you can take that and now again open up to new things.
Yeah, I
Like-
mean, it would be interesting. It's more so like I think Capcom themselves, like, and whoever the developers, like, they would have to. They're gonna see like how are the numbers gonna do, like, and stuff like that. Like they're gonna see if it's
Mhm.
worth if the juice is worth the squeeze. I
Yeah.
mean, again, you know, uh, obviously being somebody who like in general really loves the series, I was actually just talking recently in one of like the Resident Evil fan pages groups on Facebook. So, I was just talking about the actual books, like the ones if you can find them. The author is S.D. Perry,
Mhm.
Perry, but it was like the old books, like zero through up through Code Veronica, with like two books that were standalones, not based on any of the old games, but like the books themselves. Like I have those books. I will never get rid of those books because I can't find them anywhere now,
Right.
and they were generally like really good. They were like I love the old series and stuff like that. So it pains me to say that I haven't played like 7 and 8, but I really really want to. It's just a matter of finding the time to do it. So
Right.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna say we can take last minute questions. Anything for casual gaming, Dad. Of course, Dad, you can feel free to wing your own questions if you'd like.
Dear Casual Gaming Dad, why are you so cool? I don't know. No.
No.
One of my I will say one of my good ones where we're kind of right was what is the next kind of big thing you're looking forward to via streaming or gaming?
Oh,
What do you
yes.
think is like your next big thing that you're like, this is
Oh, I
gonna
cannot-
be it? Be a
I can-
one you want to reveal, but
Oh yeah, no,
Yeah.
I won't. It won't be a secret. Yeah, I'm very much looking forward to Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. Um, I literally pre-ordered the game before I actually secured my PS5 console. Like,
Nice.
I only just got the console like within the last 2 weeks or whatever. Um, but I literally went and like pre-ordered the game, and I was like, I'm getting the console, like come hell or high water. I was
Right.
like, I my thing was is I was searching specifically for the disc version because I
Mm.
want the disc version. I was like, I don't want the
Yeah.
digital. I want to be able to get physical copies of games because, and for anybody that knows, you've seen the article and like about people saying like, well, you should be okay with not having ownership of the game. I'm like, no, if I pay for it, it's mine. But that's a whole
Yeah.
nother sidebar. If you've seen the memes, you know. If you know, you
Yeah.
know. So I will still get physical copies of certain games, but that is definitely the next big thing that I'll be doing. So that'll be, when it comes out the end of February. In between now and then, um I don't know. I'm still figuring that out because I'm like, what can I get into that is not gonna like where I don't have to like cut it off and stop. Um,
Yeah.
so, but that is absolutely the next big one is that. So maybe
Awesome.
actually even before then, maybe the God of War Valhalla DLC for Ragnarok.
Mm.
Oh yes. Yeah.
Cause,
Jake
cause why?
has played through all that, and he just really loves
Yeah.
them.
Because why the hell have I not gotten to that yet? I don't know.
Shit happens.
Yeah,
Your
life happens.
life finds
Right.
a way.
Listen, my next big project right now has nothing to do with streaming. It's finishing this godforsaken Final Fantasy puzzle so I can get it up and frame it because holy hell, it's pain. I
Intricate.
sent I oh god, yeah. I'll send you the picture I sent to Semper. It's difficult.
You need
Mm.
to start setting up cameras during your puzzle sessions, and then do fast forward
I've
plays of
I've
assemblies. People
I've
watch
thought
those. People like
I've
those.
thought about that. I might do that. I've considered it. Um,
hmm You
for
just have
this
to
one,
have a special little either camcorder or the way you hook it up for like give it its own little, so
Mm.
then when you piece it together and fast forward it, it's a
Time
little
lapse.
easier to do. Yeah.
oh
So.
yeah, yeah.
hmm
No, I've thought about doing that actually. I would like
hmm
to, and I actually have a couple more puzzles that shouldn't be nearly as difficult as this one. But this one has been a sitting project for a while.
Oh
Um,
wow.
yeah, it's again I'll send you the picture like in our group chat or whatever. But it's just
Yeah, yeah.
it's very
What's
dark
piece
and
count?
it's what's that?
What's the piece count?
Oh, it's 1,000.
Okay.
So I mean, but we did like I was saying to Semper earlier, we did 1,000-piece Mario puzzle that was like a
Mhm.
Christmas themed one
Yeah.
that um that it was not nearly as bad. Like I mean, just because we didn't do it all in one sitting, we took maybe a couple days on
hmm
it or whatever. Um, but this one, it's like it's Cloud on. It's the Final Fantasy VII remake. It's Cloud out in the street, like sitting on the motorcycle with his Buster Sword, and it's just very dark and it's hard to
Mm,
identify where shit goes because so many pieces are either like black,
black.
purple, dark blue, some other shade of blue, and I'm like, God Almighty, what the hell did we get ourselves into?
Yeah.
And I bought this thing when we went to Gettysburg in like 2022 in the fall, and it's
Yes.
still not done. So
That's
yeah,
great.
and God bless her. She's my girlfriend is sitting there, helping me out with it. She is actually like working on it now as I'm doing this. So I'm sitting here watching. I'm like, oh, it's looking good.
Thanks for
You're
letting him
doing
do
great.
this.
You're doing great.
They say you're
Doing
doing
great,
great. She is
sweetie.
actually. She's getting some progress made for sure, and
You're
I'm
staying out
so
of the
thankful.
way, and that's your job right now. Sometimes the
I
best job is staying out of the way, right?
Yeah, I had very little progress on it today. I was like, I'm determined. I was like, I got to get this thing done because I don't want pieces to get lost because if I get down to it and we're like
hmm
missing one or two pieces, I'm just gonna throw the thing off the table and be
I
Yes.
done with it.
can't. Oh my god, I've been there too, and I'm like, nope, still
Uh,
going up. I don't care. We sat and did. Nope, it's still going. I don't care.
yes, and this will be wall art for my layer down here. So
Nice.
yes.
Noise.
Do you have anything coming for the Pittsburgh Pile Driver podcast?
Yeah, so if I'm not sure if it's already been uploaded or not, probably not because I know this weekend was Ransom's birthday and he
Mm.
usually will
Oh,
upload the stuff onto
Happy
YouTube.
birthday,
Actually,
Adam.
So yes, today is actually his birthday. But I know the
Aw,
Rumble,
poor
but the
bitch.
Rumble was yesterday. So the latest episode to get out will be the predictions and picks that we had for the Rumble.
Mhm.
And then so we'll see when that gets like uploaded to the masses, and then obviously like this week whenever we record, we'll be giving our takes on the Rumble and stuff like that. So
Excellent.
yeah.
But Dad, thank you for being here. Y'all make sure you can go check out Casual Gaming Dad here on Twitch, Facebook, and YouTube. Also, the Pittsburgh Pile Driver podcast, aka the P3, anywhere where you listen to podcasts, iTunes, Apple Store. iTunes is Apple Store, ain't it? Spotify. Do you guys upload them to YouTube as well?
Yeah. So we uploaded to YouTube, and then and then just the audio, like the audio for the podcast as well, is also on like Google Podcasts, Spotify, Anchor. And I'm trying to remember if we're also on Apple Podcasts or not. I don't think we're on iHeart. Don't think, but yeah. So there's that.
Awesome.
When's your next stream going to be? Any idea?
Should be tomorrow night. So Monday, depending on whenever you're all listening to this. Should be tomorrow night, Monday night, 9 p.m. over on Facebook and YouTube. Doing the finale of Cthulhu Saves Christmas.
Such a good
Oh my
game.
god.
I've been drawing that out. I love it. It's a good. It's a fun little simple RPG. It does a lot of fourth wall breaking. And it's just fun humor and stuff like that. It's really it's just a neat little game. So
That's funny.
Also like to thank my co-hosts Manifest and the Tyrant Valhari, who you can all find here on Twitch, for joining me this evening. All the audience members, I appreciate each and every one of you. Honestly, probably wouldn't because we take your questions. I feel like it's fun instead of just hearing us ask questions about someone who we might already know. But
Yes.
again, we aim to help you all learn about people you might not know or who you think you know. Bring them in here, kind of learn more about them, game styles, stuff they do in the background. Like Dad, we just found out does puzzles.
and if you don't know, now you know.
Right? The more
Now
you
you
know.
know.
G.I. Joe.
Oh gosh.
The
You're
more you
welcome.
know. Could be a shooting star logo there.
I have that in my actual
He
stream.
does use that.
Yep.
He uses that on stream. It's
Yep.
Love it.
ridiculous.
Yep,
Love
I don't use it here because it's no point. But yeah, on my stream when we all learn something, I hit the button and it goes across my stream.
That's great.
So Dad, thank you for joining me. Ladies and gentlemen, all the audience, thank you. Dad will be live tomorrow, Monday, January 29th, over on Facebook. We will be live tomorrow at some point with something. Thank you all for being here. Dad, again, thank you.
Thank you for having me. Yeah. Yay.
I don't know who our next
You gotta
guest.
help us wrangle Ethan in here.
Yeah, if you know anyone that might want to be part of one of these, let me know. I got a list going that we got AVB, Rusted Paladin, LX6V, 16-bit Hero to come on at some point. A streamer named Offer Mike Lowry, because we brought him up here in the session tonight. One coin only I'd like to reach out to. Commodore 64 Brannigan. Again, those two being in different aspects of the world is going to make that a little harder.
One.
I was waiting for that. Ask,
I'm gonna be sick that day.
what day is that? I'm busy that day.
Yeah.
What, 6 months from now? I'm busy that day.
Yeah.
Talk to Brian from Classic and Current. I'm sure he would like that. That'd be a good one.
That is good. I worry about his timing though, because he's usually a very early morning person.
But yeah, we can make it work for a lot of people though.
Yeah, that's what we tell people.
But
Like even if
typically it's
Sundays don't
Sundays.
work, you know, I think Alex we changed the day because just like whatever
Right.
day it was, whatever didn't work. I think we ended up did we do like a Friday or Saturday or something? I
Yeah,
don't
something
remember,
like
but-
that.
I mean, yeah.
But-
If nothing else, I mean, like you could always like you could have that one do like a pre-recorded and then just
Right.
like
Mhm.
upload it for Sunday. Andre from Yokoso
Mhm.
Otaku. I think.
Oh yeah.
He's
Do they
strictly
still both Do they still both stream?
Who?
I
Brian
think
and
they're
Andre?
over on. Yeah, I think they're over on
Yeah.
YouTube, Low.
Yeah,
Specifically.
Yeah, Andre's specifically, Yokoso Otaku specifically over on YouTube now. I know he's been working on, like basically like whatever the equivalent for partner and stuff is over there, I guess.
Yeah.
Um,
I knew he went to Japan recently.
Yeah, yeah, he did. Yeah.
Bitch.
So he'd be a cool. I know, right? Yeah, he'd be a cool one. I think. Him, Brian's obviously still
Yeah.
streaming.
Yeah.
Blast.
Mm.
I think he'd be a good one to reach out to.
I think he's too busy, but I'd love to have Dwayne.
Yeah.
Dwayne,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
God, he's
Padlock.
so funny. Yes.
And
I still catch him quite a bit on over on Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
I would say even Blast and Jax, because Jax started
Yeah.
her thing. Like
Oh,
she's
yeah.
like they because again, like Blast was a perfect example of like one that like I mentioned when pandemic happened, like he basically just went all in with it because he didn't have a choice. Like it was like, well, I ain't got my job, like I gotta fucking do something.
Yeah.
Mhm.
You know. Trying to think who else.
No rush.
Yeah,
I got plenty of names to work through anyways, and we got all year to do it. So.
Oh yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. I would say if he gets back to streaming more, I would say to reach out to Poot, but I know he's got a lot of irons in the fires. Like actually, I just saw him here this weekend because he was up at Ransoms for the for Royal Rumble, and then but
Nice.
I wasn't up there
Yeah.
on Saturday, but I was watching it, and then today I got up, I come downstairs, I started faffing around with the puzzle a little bit, and I get a message from him. He's like, "Hey, what are you doing?" I'm like, "Nothing at all. What's up?" He's like, "Mind if I stop over?" I'm like, "Nothing would make me happier. Like, come on over,
Yeah.
man."
All
Yeah,
right.
because I don't get just the distance. Like he's about a 2-hour drive for me.
Mm.
Oh wow. Yeah.
So we don't we don't always get to see
Yeah.
him, and
Mhm.
Life.
yeah, well,
Yeah.
yeah, just the distance too. But yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, he's got
Yeah.
he's got work, he's got his bands, he's got his guitar stuff. Like it's he's got a lot of irons in the fire. I think he's doing what the fuck is the music? Yes, he's helping on they're doing like a theater thing, like of Rock of Ages or whatever,
That's
like his local
amazing.
theater. Yeah, I mean, like he's like it's funny because we were talking about it before. Like I often forgot that he is a classically, like he's a trained musician, like went to
Mhm.
Right.
college for it and stuff, you know what I mean? And so like it was back in August, I finally made it up. Me and Andy went up to go see him play, and it was like awesome. I'm like, oh my God, my friend's in a band, like
Yes.
so it was really cool to see him like in his element and stuff like that.
Oh,
Um
yes.
and but yeah, like I said, yeah, just a little bit of the distance it
Yeah.
is. Like,
Yeah.
we don't always get to see each other. So that's kind of the nice thing, having the podcast, and obviously like being able to just like jump on Discord or something and be like, hey, what's going on,
Right.
Yup.
No, that.
All of my closest friends on Discord.
All my closest
Right.
friends are like a 10-hour drive away, and fucking 5 states away.
Yeah.
Yep. But yeah, so that would be the name that I was going to throw out the most, honestly,
Mhm.
would be Poop. Like,
Yeah.
But yeah, he does seem like a busy guy. But yeah, even just like
Yeah.
in the future,
Oh yeah.
Right.
just
Yeah.
to put that bug in his ear, and like you kind of help us put that bug in his ear too. And be
Oh yeah,
like,
absolutely. Yeah, absolutely I will.
yeah,
Yeah, I'll mention it to him for sure.
awesome.
I'm trying to think who else. I'm trying to think.
Yeah. If it comes, when it comes, platform is
Yeah.
irrelevant. YouTube, Facebook, Kick, Twitch.
Oh yeah,
Doesn't matter.
yeah. It's just as long as they're doing their thing.
Yep. Content.
Yep.
Content creator.
Yep.
Content
Because
creator.
we had Jake, right, and he had
Yep.
kind of
He had just started.
into gaming.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
But he was
know.
doing music at the time, so we
yeah,
plugged a lot of his music
and I
stuff.
would say he primarily does
Music.
music streams.
Okay,
Like he
yeah.
sidebars with gaming. So it's and like that's why I think Poot would be another good one because like he does both, you know, and so
Yeah,
it's like
because
it's really cool.
he's done a couple. I know recently he got on and like was fiddling around on Twitch like within the last month or two, and he had like a
Mhm.
little short video where he was just kind of just riffing around and stuff like that
Yeah,
on his guitar, and I was like, I love it. Like I
very
even said
good.
like, and I know I know in the past he's done stuff with like videos about when he's been doing like guitar tech work because
Yeah.
he'll build and repair shit too. Like
Yep.
he's so he would be somebody like if he starts getting back to putting more of that content out and stuff like that, like
Be
I'll put the
amazing.
bug in his ear too to like
Mm-hmm.
Just tell them that's what the people want.
yeah,
People
exactly.
want to
Yeah,
see you do it, all of it. Do all of
we
it.
do all the stuff.
All the
Um
things.
Yeah, I know that was something we were talking about is like once he gets past like this busy point here in the next month or two, he's like, I am really going to start saying no to a lot of other things and just really buckling down and focusing on like a couple things here and there because it's
Mhm.
like you just run out of time, you know?
Yep.
Right.
So,
Forget to enjoy everything you're doing instead of doing everything you're doing.
Right.
yes. Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I will say that again with him and I, like both of us working similar jobs, the stress from the job, like again, working in finance, like
Yeah.
we deal with cash like
Mhm.
all day long, and if we basically have to be perfect. So like
Yep.
if we fuck up, like that's a fireable sort of thing. Whereas like not saying other jobs aren't stressful, but like if you fuck up doing something else and like whatever else, like if you're working customer service or something, you'll probably get a talking to or whatever and get
Mhm.
reprimanded from your manager, but not something where like, compared to like if I have a reportable overdraft, my ass might be out the door. Like,
Yep.
Right.
so
Yep.
yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
So I think that was kind of an eye opener when we were talking today is like some of that stress has been bleeding over into outside of work where I'm like now I'm viewing other things outside of work like my streaming or whatever, and it's like just instead of going, oh, I get to stream tonight, it's I have to stream tonight, like
Yeah. Putting the
shifting that
pressure on
mindset.
yourself or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's just mentally taxing. So
Yep.
but
We're all people. Even
oh yeah,
streamers,
Yeah.
people. We are people too.
streamers are
Okay.
people too.
Vets are people too. I feel like you guys are so good at doing that sometimes. My brother's a vet. I know both of you are. I feel like you guys sometimes are so good at just buckling down and doing what you need to do and just getting into that mindset. And not to say that other people don't do it because I do it too, but you guys are really good at doing that. Like you just buckle in and just go so hard at things. And you're
Called
like,
embracing the suck.
I know,
Yes,
but and it's not like
embrace
I'm
the
not
suck.
saying
I
it's a
like that.
negative
Yeah,
thing. I just think y'all are really good and or like really bad, however you want to take it, at like shifting out of that gear and just going, no, wait, I get to enjoy doing. I get to do this thing now. Like I'm gonna do this,
it's
I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that. You know, like it's not
it's
bad. I'm not
learning.
saying that other
No,
people do it, but
it's
yeah.
learning. It's learning to compartmentalize.
Mm-hmm.
That's the
Hmm.
big thing.
It's not healthy, but yes, that's
Yeah.
Sometimes yes, sometimes no. Like it
Hmm.
in certain times of crises or whatever,
yes.
when you can compartmentalize and you're like, okay, I'm tackling this and this, like, and
Yep.
then like, okay, I was gonna say we were done with the thing, right? Well, like we're not still going,
Oh
are
no,
we?
we're still alive.
We're still alive, so
we're,
Oh
it's
shit!
we're
fine.
still alive. I haven't
I didn't realize.
officially ended yet. I was giving thanks, and then the last couple questions, and then we just kind of been rambling, so I kind of
Well,
just let
fuck
it
me.
go. But no,
Okay, I didn't even realize that, but that's fine. Like, I mean,
this is what
not that.
remember how we
Yeah.
kind
Life
of
ends up this
briefly
way,
how I briefly spoke to you about how like usually an hour ish is, and then we start kind of winding away. We almost hit 2 hours before this, so that I'm going to consider
Damn.
that a win.
Okay, well, we can say our official goodbyes. And we
Yeah.
can keep bullshitting afterwards.
Alright.
I don't want to make this actually
So,
something listenable for people.
again, y'all make sure to go check out Casual Gaming Dad here on Twitch, Facebook, and YouTube. Hit one of his logos is up there. The other one looks like the old school NWO shirts. If you're
Yes.
into wrestling, again, if you're into wrestling, He also takes part of the P3 Pittsburgh Pile Driver podcast, found on just about any goddamn platform where you can find podcasts. I recommend you give it a shot. It's a bunch of dudes that just sorts off and talk fucking wrestling.
Entertaining and informative and
Yes.
insightful.
So again, we had viewers in the chat. Pandaroni Press, who does stream here on Twitch. Manifest, the Tyrant Valhari. Obviously, y'all are here at Simplify Streaming. So I appreciate y'all for being here over the past almost 2 hours of this. Y'all have really made this a pleasurable new experience here on the page. I need to give a shout out to Viper's Fury 86, who is here on Twitch. He also has a YouTube channel, for allowing us to use his name for from the Late Night Gamers Lounge to make this possible. Again, all the old guests that we have had. I guess we're gonna have to look for special events, especially when or if we hit 100 episodes, on who that person's gonna be. So, right. Thank you all. Stay tuned for the raid. We'll find out who's live. Who we're gonna send you for further entertainment for the evening. I appreciate each and every one of you. Please remember, always take care of yourself, each other, and your families. Stay faithful. We'll catch you next time here at Simplify Streaming. Bye.